All right, hey everyone. Guess what? We are joined by Dr. Swiner today to
Swiner.
Swiner, excuse me, Dr. Swiner, to talk about the Superwoman complex, which is a very important thing to women's mental health. So why don't we go ahead and get started with the first question, which is what is the Superwoman complex?
Yeah. Plenty of us probably already kind of know what it is, even if you don't know the official name for it. It's the feeling of taking care of everyone and everything and ultimately leaving yourself last. And as a family physician, I end up seeing these women in my office, it presenting in different ways, or whether it be feeling overwhelmed, overstressed, depressed, anxious, sleeping issues, weight issues, diabetes. I mean, you name it. I can almost link any medical and mental health issue directly to stress, which then can stem from the Superwoman complex. So it's trying to be all things to all people and forgetting about yourself.
So how did you first realize that there was a Superwoman complex?
So I realized it in myself first. I mean, I knew that that thing existed, the feeling of having to be a martyr and take care of all of your loved ones and feel like you were um, essentially the leader of all things, whether it be in the home, at work, with your family members, etc. But when I started when I started realizing it in myself, I was got married and I ultimately have two children. But by my first child and going back to work after maternity leave, I noticed that I was feeling tired, feeling stressed, having trouble sleeping, not making time for exercise, not making time for self-care breaks, and essentially passed out at work.
Oh
It was
wow.
passed out, right? Um, and it could have been a number of things, just not hydrating well, not eating right, not sleeping well, but ultimately decided that I needed a break. And my husband and my father, interestingly, the men in my life were the ones that pointed out where I was essentially doing too much. And I heard of this book called The Superwoman Syndrome before. It was written in the 1980s, but really took some time to really read it and ingest it. And then my father pointed out this Newsweek magazine article about women in the workforce and what that meant for us being, big time entrepreneurs. Because women, particularly in this area, women lead the nation in creating new businesses and creating, entrepreneurial situations, but then also having to manage what's going on at home and with their kids and with their family and with mom and dad, taking care of the elderly, but then ultimately ending up with medical problems of their own because of it. So I had to realize it in myself before I was able to truly recognize how important it was and how essential it was to talk to my other patients about it, so we could all focus on self care more.
Right, absolutely. So, is it just Black women or all women?
All women. There are many, 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 many women in this on this earth, and many of us suffer from the Superwoman complex. There's definitely a subset and a different kind of a category, particularly for Black women. The Black Superwoman syndrome you may have heard of as well. There are some good articles in magazines like Essence and Ebony and online about the Black Superwoman syndrome, but the Superwoman complex can affect anyone. I mean, just think of people that you know in your own life, whether it be at home, at work, growing up with these women that raised you. They seem like they could handle and do it all, right? Seamlessly.
Right.
But clearly, in the background or in their prayer closet or at night when it's quiet, they're dealing with their own demons that they don't make time to really face because they're taking care of everyone else. So this can affect everyone, but there's a special kind of subset for our category for Black women, because not only do we deal with taking care of everyone, but we also have the stresses of dealing with misogyny and misogynoir, what they call it. Black women being, oppressed and beat up, and kind of taking on the burden of fixing the world. Black women fix the world, right? Whether it
Right.
be in politics and government. We're hoping for the first Black woman VP coming up in this election, because we just feel like, okay, she's going to fix it. Whoever it is, we know she can fix it. Or we're leading the Black Lives Matter movement, or we're working on equal pay for women in the workforce. Black women do it all. And that comes with his own trauma. So we
Absolutely.
have to take even more special care as Black women to not overdo it and not overwhelm ourselves.
So, do you think the term a strong woman has caused us to feel like we have to take on everything and not ask for help?
That's right. That's exactly right. It's become detrimental. So usually you would think, okay, being called a superwoman or a strong woman is a positive thing, right? But
Right.
then what it does emotionally and mentally is it makes us feel like we don't need help, or it makes us feel guilty for asking for help, or feel less than or weak if we ask for a break, or if we ask for a nap, or if we ask for a vacation day or a mental health day. It makes us feel less than. And so we need to fix that. Like there's something inside that we need to click to say, you know what, I'm worth it. I deserve to ask for help. I deserve for someone to give me a break. I deserve that. I value myself, and I'm worth it. And we have to. That's the self talk that has to happen so that we can flip the script.
Right. And do you find that a lot of women have a lot of trouble with saying that they're stressed and they're overwhelmed?
I think they do. I think particularly in the Black community, we're doing better about lessening the stigma of mental health and asking for help when it comes to mental health and dealing with emotional health. Back in the day, we were all taught, keep it in the house, and
Absolutely.
don't tell what's happening in our family business. We were raised on that. But I think, particularly with the pandemic, and as everybody having to quarantine and be at home and talking more on social media and sharing with each other in that way, connecting with each other in that way, we're doing a better job, I think, of making it okay to say, you know what, I think I am suffering from depression, or I think I am suffering from anxiety or bipolar disorder. And, we're all looking at Kanye West and what he's going through, and
Absolutely.
right. And feeling different ways about that. But I hope that it's getting a little bit more, it's becoming more commonplace. It's becoming just part of natural life to say, you know what, I see a therapist. I certainly have seen a therapist. I talk to my psychiatry friends. I talk to my ministers who can do counseling, and I'm working through that. I take medicines, or I do these natural remedies and exercise and all that to focus on mental health. So I think it's getting a little bit better.
So, how do you actually overcome the superwoman complex?
Yeah. You have to acknowledge it. It's like any addiction or any issue. You have to acknowledge that it's going on, whether it be
Mhm.
someone bringing it to your attention, or you, like me, falling flat on your face, literally, to say, you know what, something is wrong. I'm not doing something right. Let me reassess and adjust. But so once you acknowledge that, yes, I have this issue, I feel like I can take on the world and I can do all these things, and I'm the best one to handle it because only I know how to do it right. Once you acknowledge that that is false, um, the biggest thing is to, like we mentioned, ask for help, to delegate. A true boss or a true, strong woman delegates her tasks. So I've definitely become a pro now with asking my husband, can you do this load of laundry or these dishes? Asking my children, who are old enough now to take care of things that they can do on their own. They're old enough now. They're 7 and 9. They can. When we were in school, in the real world, they
Mhm.
can make their lunch. They can pick out their outfits. They can get ready for bath and bedtime on their own. Like I didn't have to micromanage them as much as I thought I had to. When you're at work, asking for delegation of tasks that you can, ask an assistant to do, ask an intern to do, hire someone to do, and get your rest, take your breaks. So I think that's the biggest thing, is delegating your tasks. Second thing is, I keep saying sleep over and over again because that's my favorite thing. Getting good sleep. Good restful sleep. So even again, the pandemic and COVID and coronavirus has thrown everything off. But
Right.
making sure that you're getting 6 to 8 hours of good quality restful sleep, so that you can actually wake up the next day and feel like you can function, like you can think, so that you can make that list of things that you need to do, and then hopefully, dole them out to people who can be helpful to you. And then lastly, just making sure you're getting those mental health breaks every day. So it's not just about the spa or getting a massage or getting your hair done. It's about do I hate my job? I mean, that's a big one, right?
Right.
Can I work in a more positive, optimistic space? Do I ask, if you're able to manage your schedule, do I make sure that I block my weekends so I have my weekends off? Do I ask my employer, to take those mental health days, those sick days, those vacation days, things of that nature that may not feel like, you're going and doing this big thing and spending this money to get your hair and nails done, the things that will actually make a difference in your lifestyle so that you can have more downtime.
Absolutely. So what do you think we can do as women to help other women overcome the complex?
We can, as I, talk about with any other kind of mental health issue, destigmatize this whole girl, you can do it all. Giving each other a break. We tend to be our worst enemy, both ourselves to ourselves and ourselves to other women, by expecting everybody to do all these amazing things all the time. I think we need to make it okay and not feel or not make each other feel as guilty or as much shame in doing those things that we mentioned, and asking for help, for taking a break, for taking a nap, for going to sleep, for turning your phone off, for not answering mommy and aunties and grandma's call at 1 and 2 a.m. We need to make that okay, and not make each other feel as much shame when it comes to that stuff. Excuse me. Got a tickle. Okay.
Absolutely. It's difficult, especially nowadays. We're expected to work, clean, and take care of the kids just like they did back in the day. And it's really hard.
Not complain about it.
Right. And it's really hard. And I don't think a lot of us have realized that until now. You see a lot more African Americans or women in general going to therapy, making sure that they do their self-care.
Yeah. Which is great. I love it. I love that people are doing that.
Right. And how many people have you talked to about the Superwoman complex that have gotten better with their physical health issues?
So as a family physician, I take care of people in clinic throughout the week, Monday through Friday. And I bring up stress and, being a superwoman or a superman on almost every visit, because I think it has a lot to do with almost every medical condition. So I talk about, are you resting and sleeping so that your blood pressure and your blood sugars can be better? Are you exercising, which reduces stress, which then also brings down your numbers? When it comes to depression and anxiety, are you, taking some time just to be quiet, meditation, prayer, listening to soft music? What is it that brings your stress level down? And thankfully, over time, with a combination of different things, but just, focusing on the importance of those things in your life, can help and does help people make, feel better. So I'm always a fan of that. And coming off meds, we do have medications that can help a lot of things, but excuse me, the better that you can maintain on your own with lifestyle changes and modifications, the less medicines you need, the better.
Right, absolutely. And coming off those medications, I'm sure that puts extra money in their pockets.
That's right. With your doctor's help. Now, don't just stop medicines.
Right.
Really. Talk to your doctor about it, and y'all come up with a plan on how to do that.
Absolutely. Don't just come off your medications without your doctor's knowledge. That would not be good. Well, I thank you for joining me today in my mental health with Dr. Natalie group. I'm actually a mental health therapist. So, when I saw your book, I was like, oh, yeah, I really got to have her come on and talk about the Superwoman complex. Absolutely. So you guys can actually get Dr. Swiner's book, The Superwoman Complex, off of Amazon.com. And for the people who pre-registered, will actually receive a free copy of her book.
Yay.
So again, I want to say thank you, and we're going to end for tonight. All right. Thanks. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.